everyone, this is Yael from Yael Alchemy, and I'm here to bring you the message of the Divine Feminine to her beloved for the week of February 12th to 18th. Okay, and so let's dive straight into the reading. It is Valentine's week, so happy Valentine's, and it is also Chinese New Year's on Friday the 16th, so Kong Hei Fa Choi. Okay, so anyway, let's dive on into the reading. And at the bottom of the deck, oh, by the way, these cards, this deck is the Trionfi de la Luna cards. They actually light up under black light, except that I don't have a black light. And from what I hear, there are only 3 more decks left in stock, and the artist will never make them again. So anyway, well, I'm glad that I was able to get this deck before it stocks dwindled. Anyway, so here at the bottom of the deck, which would be the energies of the Divine Feminine, we have the 4 of Coins, or the 4 of Pentacles, and this was what I have been talking about in the Twin Flame Weekly, and it appeared also in the Divine Masculine message, that going inward, keeping things close, okay, for the Divine Feminine. As I said in the Twin Flame Weekly, this is like a withdrawal from anything spiritual. It's like some Divine Feminines, they need to sort of have a more fortified protective shield around them when it comes to energies and those that they allow into their sphere of influence right now. So there are a lot who are shutting down and just assimilating and integrating all these energies that can manifest in various forms, some of which are most often chaotic. Okay, so there. And then we have here the Ace of Wands. See, because this is related to this whole transformational phase that the earth is going through, and that reflect on us also, because you know we are direct recipients of these downloads, and these downloads are all to the end of establishing Earth in 5D, so that it has the capacity now to operate in 5D and beyond. We have to anchor it on the planet, and that carries on, that reverberates rather to its inhabitants. So that's related to that. And see here, look at this. This card has no name. But what this is saying is that because a lot of the Divine Feminines, you can see there, when you're twin flame, you actually you have a promise before you go through all your lifetimes that you will do your mission here and get back with your twin, come into union with yourself and then with your twin flame, and as a consequence of that, the energies that are resultant there because of that particular journey affects everyone else in your sphere. So anyway, so I mentioned that because here you can see the pinky finger is bleeding. Because some of the Divine Feminines, they feel under attack or almost to the point of being persecuted for being who they are. And that's why this ring finger is bleeding, because that promise, because look at this, because in the face of all this persecution, some of them just run away or turn their backs on it. Okay? When really, of course, it's a matter of strategy, but once an opportune moment comes, okay, and the Divine Feminine is able to fortify herself, strengthen herself, and her position in this, how do you say it? Because in this, it's like a borderline between 3D and 5D because we are transitioning. Okay, once she fortifies her position further, then she'll be in a better position to face all these um, entities, energies, people that are attacking her. And then we have here the Five of Swords, and this is a card that signifies this is like a continuing battle. It's almost being battle weary, but in the end succeeding, victorious. However, that does not come without effort. And there, because here, because she wants to, this is the Queen of Cups, okay, and wanting love, that unconditional love, to reign supreme over all this, because these are all those either petty annoyances or those people, entities that either think that this is a sham or don't believe in just what she's advocating for. When it comes, especially those who are very much ensconced in 3D and, you know, don't really think that everything is connected in all dimensions, in all levels, and that we are one, that unified energy. Okay, so anyway, that could translate into various situations in other divine feminines' lives. So just check on how that energy is manifesting in yours. Okay, so as for her message, first card we have here is the Six of Swords, and this is usually the victory card, the success card, and this is either divine feminine congratulating her beloved for, you know, pushing through that very tough time that he's recently been in. Okay, powering through that, pushing through that until, you know, he saw the light. Before the reading last week for the divine masculine, very much obscured. It's like so many gray areas, very dark, and then he just, you know, went through it, powered through it, and then now things are clearer. If you watch the Twin Flame Weekly, you'll see what I mean. Next card is the Three of Cups. And again, Divine Feminine congratulating her beloved for the success in creating this third energy. You know what? Whenever each twin, okay, whether combined or separately, takes a step toward, or, you know, exerts some effort into achieving union, creating union, and that just tapping into this third energy that is being created when two or more people come together, then Divine Feminine congratulating him on that. Okay, it's like if you're of the more religious persuasion, well, she said that if two or more come together in my name, then he's there. And that is actually just another way of saying this third energy, to create this third energy. Okay, so here, each one bearing the Christed energy, and then you create this unified energy field. Okay, and then the next card we have here is the Page of Wands, the Fante di Bastoni. And here we see this creature diligently and lovingly pruning this rose. And you can see here it's taken some time to prune the rose. All the dead branches, he's cutting them off with his hands that are like pincers. And you know, when you're in the act of pruning, it's like tough love, okay? Because you have to cut off a limb in order for the plant to be healthier and for it to grow. Okay, the same applies when you're grafting, okay, plants. You cut off limbs and you help the other branch to grow by attaching that that branch that you cut off over there. Okay, so here, this is a reminder to constantly nurture himself, because and to basically learn with more aptitude what things to give up, what things to cut off, in order so that this main bloom, okay, the stalk of this rose can bloom. Okay, the next card we have here is the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Wands is usually referred to as the Valor card. Okay, and this is encouraging the divine masculine to continue to be daring, brave, and be a trailblazer. Okay, doesn't matter if no one's following him, doesn't matter if he's going at it alone. Well, divine feminine reminding him that he is never alone in what he wants to, when he is following the path of his highest good and the path towards union. So here, just reminding him to be brave and courageous, and to fortify the defenses, because if the divine feminine is here in this energy wherein some are under attack or persecution, so is the divine masculine by that mirror effect, but here to a lesser degree, because things are happening to him, at least, you know, almost a step behind, because that's the way his evolution is progressing. Okay, and then so here, just a reminder to fortify the defenses, because that's what she's already doing, or what she finds that she needs to do at this time. And then for the last card, this is the Five of Swords, Five of Wands rather, and the Five of Wands, divine feminine, reminding her beloved that throughout all these, because these wands represent either opposing desires, okay, things that are, or interests. You know how when, well, over here, a ground for annulment of marriage. We don't have divorce in my country, but a ground for the annulment of marriage is irreconcilable differences. Okay, so these are all these things, all the interests that, you know, are presenting themselves to him, in which he has to decide, really, because this creates a confused energy where, you know, everybody wants a part of him. Some want his arm, his feet, his money, his presence, his time, his attention, everything. Okay, but here, in navigating through this, the divine feminine is telling her beloved is to see through all these. These are all, in the grand scheme of things, merely details. And that he always has to see. You can see that eye that's peeping out there. He always has to see through them in order to navigate through them. Okay? To get past them, he has to see through them. Okay, that's better phrase, the last thing I said. Okay, so there. Okay, I'm going to pick clarifying cards really quickly. Okay. Okay, for the Six of Swords. See here, happiness. Look at this. Because the divine masculine has been traversing, going to, you know, smoother, to a place where things are smoother sailing. He's going towards happiness. And yes, he had to get through all those complicated matters, but that's a price. Here, this is you know, fluctuations, being inconsistent, and divine feminine telling him, reminding him to as much as possible operate at this level, this frequency, wherein you create the third energy. And that means, you know, when you're doing something, even very simple, I don't know, like if the guy's doing woodworking or something, no, that's a bad example. Anyway, what I just wanted to say was that if you're doing something and you're doing it from the heart, okay, not just the mind, okay, that you think you're doing it with your heart, but you're actually really doing things from the heart, there's much more chance for success because and in creating also this third energy, because you're putting yourself into it, you're putting the energy of love into what you do, whatever it is, okay. And this is where that frequency wherein we should operate. That was the frequency of the inhabitants of Lemuria and Atlantis before all those the wars and, you know, those things that eventually led to the demise of those civilizations. So it's always a choice. You choose to operate on what frequency that you want. Sometimes it is inadvertent, okay, because, you know, you're going through your day, you don't really think about it. It's like when you drive a car, everything's on autopilot, and then sometimes you have to shift down, shift up, and all that. And but this is a reminder to consciously choose to operate at that frequency. And for the Page of Wands, here, this is recognition. So a recognition of those things that need to be let go in order to nurture this rose. And that rose could be the relationship between you and your beloved, okay? Among other things. And for the Seven of Wands, okay, see, it's time. This is putting an end to things. And, okay, because this is putting an end to things. And, you know, this is standing your ground. Putting some boundaries. If there are people that enjoy walking all over you, because the Divine Masculine right now, he's figured it out, especially how this new paradigm works in his lifetime, and he's trying to bring that down into you actual workable, in an actual workable way in his life now. Okay, so here it's time to draw boundaries. If there are people, especially females, and I'm going to call them females, who are still in the victim mentality and use their being a woman to gain sympathy, but they're actually manipulating some men, then there, draw the boundaries. He knows who he is. If he is still trapped into that old stereotype, he'll fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. But we're talking about an enlightened, an illumined Divine Masculine here, if he's gotten there. Okay? So I know some of you are going to write in the comments that, you know, he left me for this, or he beat me. Well, no, nobody's actually written that he beat me. Okay, but, and I hope that no one does. But, you know, considering that he's still doing that, then he has a ways to go in his ascension. And what the Divine Feminine can do is to energetically support his ascension, but keeping boundaries in 3D, especially if it's affecting her, because you have to value yourself also. Okay, so anyway, here, Divine Masculine saying it's time to put up, to put up boundaries for the divine masculine, it would be better in order to protect his own energy field. And the divine feminine is saying this from her experience because that's what she's going through. That's why she's putting up all these boundaries, retreating, withdrawing until she fortifies. Okay, for the Five of Wands. Okay. See here? This passions, these are almost star-crossed lovers. You can see the hearts there with both have flames, but their trajectory is to cross each other's paths. Okay, and this is what happens in the meantime, that their paths have not crossed yet, but you can see the trajectory there. There is an intersection, and look, on the way to that intersection, this is the interference that abounds. Okay, all this would be interference. If you're on a plane, it's like turbulence. You just go straight instead of going straight. You know, you have to be like in a roller coaster because of the turbulence, and it's quite scary if you get, you know, turbulence while you're on a plane. Anyway, what the divine feminine is telling him is that it's like keep your eye on the prize. See through that. They're just details. They're not the most important thing. Make sure to keep your eye on the goal. Keep your eye on what is the most important to you and what resonates most in your heart. Everything else, all this interference, they can be successfully managed and handled that way by seeing, going to the crux of the matter, what is truly important to you. Okay, so there, that's what I have for you this week. And just a reminder, I do have that love booster still up, and that's 30 minutes of Reiki to enhance the connection between you and your twin, and for less interference, like I said earlier, for the love that flow between hearts to be unimpeded, and to make love new again, and to increase the likelihood of forming a romantic relationship. Now, for the divine feminines that are in this energy, as they, okay, these energies, okay, because that's what's being negotiated right now, because the new phase, it's the transitional energies, I'll call them, okay, and here those that are withdrawing because everything else is creating confusion and chaos, or they're being persecuted and they feel that they, you know, they cannot be their true authentic selves because of a miscommunication or what. Well, I do advise getting a RASHEEBA session. I will have the RASHEEBA ad up after this, because that's the fastest and most intense way to clear. Okay, and for those who've gotten RASHEEBA sessions before, that's okay, because this is maintenance. It's like car tune-up. So you get one every now and then to make sure that the energy flows through all your chakras fast, and you get that you come into union with yourself and then with your twin. Of course, with your twin, you'd want the advanced RASHEEBA session to activate divine union between you and to activate divine light. Okay, so for that's what I have for you. Again, happy Valentine's, everyone, and Kung Hei Fa Choi, and I'll leave you with that. Thanks, everyone. Bye.